I froze outside the conference room door, clutching a stack of files, my heart pounding like it was trying to break free. "Don't you dare." Mark Sullivan's voice boomed, angry but restrained, cutting through the frosted glass. "You don't get to steal Lucas's work again." I swallowed hard, the familiar knot of anxiety tightening in my gut, the kind that hits when you know someone's about to stab you in the back. Lauren Mitchell, the newly promoted vice president, replied with a chillingly calm tone. "Mark, you have no idea what you're talking about. I've been building the Synex relationship from the start. Lucas is just following my strategy." I nearly laughed, but my throat was dry as dust. Her strategy? I'd poured my blood, sweat, and tears into the $50 million Synex Holdings contract, the biggest in Orion Tech's history. Early mornings, late nights, and 4 200-mile flights to Detroit to meet their team. Every slide in the pitch deck, every solution I crafted, was mine, not Lauren's, with her designer suit that probably cost more than my rent. She had no clue about the sleepless nights I'd spent perfecting it, or that Rachel Hayes, Synex's CEO, only trusted me because we'd been college roommates at Ohio University, splitting ramen noodles in a rundown apartment. I took a deep breath, pushed the door open, and stepped inside, ready to face her. But in that moment, I had no idea those whispers of betrayal were just the start of a storm that would change my life forever. I'm at the 15th floor of Orion Tech Solutions office in downtown Cincinnati, Ohio, on a crisp fall morning in 2024. The air carries the faint smell of Starbucks coffee, and the steady clack of keyboards fills the polished hallways. Outside, gray clouds hang low, the temperature around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, with golden leaves scattered across Vine Street. Orion Tech builds logistics software, not flashy like Silicon Valley, but critical for keeping goods moving across the U.S. The office vibe is cutthroat. People in sharp suits, morning meetings that drag past noon, and constant pressure to hit KPIs. My cubicle is a modest corner, where my Ohio University diploma hangs proudly on the wall, next to a monitor cluttered with spreadsheets and emails. It's not Harvard or Yale, but it's mine. Cincinnati, with its blend of vibrant energy and quiet charm, has been home for 6 years. I drive my beat-up Ford Escape, 5 miles from my suburban apartment to work, often grabbing a donut from a local shop on the way. This city's taught me that success isn't about where you start, it's about grit, and I'm about to put that lesson to the test. I'm Lucas Bennett, 32, an ordinary guy with brown hair starting to show a few grays from too many late nights. I grew up in Cincinnati's suburbs, went to Ohio University, not some Ivy League school, a fact Lauren Mitchell never lets me forget. I live for my job, proud that our software keeps goods flowing from coast to coast. Lauren Mitchell, the vice president of sales, is the picture of arrogance. Her suits probably cost more than my monthly paycheck, and her smooth-talking voice hides a ruthless streak. Mark Sullivan, my closest coworker, rocks a rumpled blazer but has my back. He's bold enough to call Lauren out, though I catch a flicker of doubt in his eyes, like he thinks I'm keeping secrets. Out in Detroit, there's Rachel Hayes, CEO of Synex Holdings, my old college roommate from Ohio University. We shared a crumbling apartment back then, scraping by on cheap meals and all-nighters. She's why I got a shot at Synex, though I've never played that card to close the deal. David Reynolds, Orion Tech CEO, and Karen Walsh, the HR rep, are names that loom large, tied to a meeting I'm dreading tomorrow. The fight kicks off when Lauren Mitchell tries to steal credit for my $50 million Synex contract, the biggest deal Orion Tech's ever seen. I've spent nearly a year on this, flying 200 miles to Detroit 4 times, burning the midnight oil to design a supply chain solution tailored to Synex's needs. But Lauren, with her Harvard MBA and boardroom connections, claims she's the mastermind, dismissing me as just the executive. It's not just about credit, it's about survival at Orion Tech, where state school grads like me are seen as second class, compared to Ivy League elites like her. Mark's showdown, with Lauren in the meeting, lays bare this divide, but his sidelong glances at me hint at another tension. Even my allies wonder if I'm playing straight with the company. If Lauren pulls this off, I could lose not just the deal, but my place here, maybe even my job. I push open the conference room door, and Lauren's icy gaze locks onto me, while Mark visibly relaxes. "Lucas, perfect timing," Mark says, his voice tinged with hope. "Tell Lauren who really put together the Synex pitch deck." I meet Lauren's eyes, keeping my tone even. "Actually, Lauren, the deck's already done. It's built around the supply chain solution I designed for Synex's multimodal needs." Her smile tightens, not reaching her eyes. "Good work, Lucas, but I'll need to review it thoroughly. We can't risk losing this deal." I nod, swallowing the truth. I'm the one who's been nurturing Synex, not her. 4 trips to Detroit, each a 200-mile slog, to meet their team. I've memorized their pain points, crafted every slide, and earned Rachel's trust through late-night calls and honest work. Lauren's never even spoken to Rachel. As we leave the meeting, Mark walks beside me, shaking his head. She's gonna try to cut you out of the final signing, Lucas. You know that, right? I sigh. Let her try. Rachel Hayes won't sign anything if I'm not in the room. I don't tell Mark about Rachel, not because I don't trust him, but because I want to keep that ace up my sleeve. She's my old college roommate, from the days of splitting cheap meals and cramming for exams in a dingy apartment. Our friendship got me in the door with Cinex, but I've never leaned on it to seal the deal. That'd be unprofessional. Back at my cubicle, I settle in, but an email from David Reynolds, Orion Tech CEO, pops up. Lucas, please join us for tomorrow's executive meeting. My stomach drops. This isn't about a promotion. That night, I toss and turn, picturing the executive boardroom with its gleaming mahogany table and cold steak. David's email didn't spell out why, but my gut screams that Lauren's been working the board, convincing them to hand her the Cinex deal. This contract is my life's work, but at Orion Tech, work doesn't always cut it. They want fancy degrees and elite connections. I stare at my Ohio University diploma on the wall, its frame a little worn, and wonder if 6 years of loyalty will be erased, just because I didn't go to an Ivy League school. The next morning, as I knot my tie and grab my coffee, my phone buzzes with a text from Mark. Watch your back, Lucas. Heard Lauren's been meeting with David. I grip the phone, anger mixing with resolve. If they want to play dirty, I'm not going down without a fight. I stand in front of the mirror, straightening my tie, trying to stay calm. Tomorrow's meeting will decide everything. I know Lauren's scheming, but she doesn't know about Rachel Hayes, doesn't know Cinex only trusts me. Mark might have his doubts, but he's still got my back, and that's enough to keep me going. I slip my laptop into my bag, double-checking the Cinex deck. Every slide perfect, ready for Monday's signing. But deep down, I can't shake the feeling that this meeting won't just be a routine check-in. As I leave my apartment, Cincinnati's drizzle greets me, the temperature dipping to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I drive through familiar streets, my mind spinning with plans. If Lauren and David think they can push me out without consequences, they're dead wrong. Rachel Hayes is my trump card, and I'm not letting Orion Tech steal what's mine. Tomorrow's meeting might mark the end of my time at Orion Tech, or the first step in making them regret crossing me. I smile for the first time all day, thinking of the moment Lauren realizes she underestimated me. I stood outside the executive boardroom, adjusting my tie, my heart pounding like a war drum. Beyond the polished mahogany door, light glinted off massive windows, but all I felt was a chill, not from Cincinnati's 62 degrees Fahrenheit morning air, but from a gut-deep dread. David Reynolds' email, Orion Tech CEO, had been curt to the point of menace. Lucas, please join us for this morning's meeting. No explanation, no details. I knew Lauren Mitchell, with her fake smile and designer suit, had been whispering in David's ear. The $50 million Cinex contract was my life's work, but today, I felt like I was about to be shoved out of the game. 6 years of dedication, sleepless nights, and 200-mile flights to Detroit. All of it could vanish just because I didn't have a Harvard degree like Lauren. I took a deep breath, trying to shake the image of my Ohio University diploma hanging alone in my cubicle. Mark Sullivan had warned me this morning via text. Watch your back, Lucas. Lauren's playing dirty. I pushed the door open, and the eyes of David and Lauren pierced me like daggers. In that moment, I knew I wasn't just walking into a meeting. I was stepping into a trap set to erase me. The executive boardroom at Orion Tech sits on the top floor, overlooking downtown Cincinnati, where skyscrapers gleam under a gray fall sky in 2024. The glossy mahogany table, plush leather chairs, and faint scent of floor polish scream cold power. Through the windows, I see cars crawling along Vine Street, 5 miles from my small apartment. Outside, it's about 62 degrees Fahrenheit, cool enough for the thin blazer I threw on after grabbing a Starbucks coffee on my drive-in. Orion Tech's office is a battleground of ambition, where Navy-suited executives strategize and grunts like me chase KPIs. The air hums with tension, phones ringing, emails pinging relentlessly. My cubicle, where I left my coffee cup and laptop, feels a world away now. This is the domain of people like Lauren Mitchell, with Ivy League pedigrees and elite connections, while I, a guy from Ohio University, have to prove my worth every damn day. Cincinnati's mix of grit and charm has been my home for 6 years, but today, it feels like the city's holding its breath with me. I'm Lucas Bennett, 32, a business development manager who clawed my way up from a low-level sales rep over 6 years at Orion Tech. My Ohio University diploma is my badge of pride, even if Lauren mocks it. Lauren Mitchell, the vice president of sales, sits across from me, her fake smile plastered on, her designer suit hugging her frame. Her Harvard MBA and slick voice make her as dangerous as a snake. David Reynolds, the CEO, presides at the head of the table, his eyes cold behind steel-rimmed glasses. He holds my fate, and I feel the distance in how he avoids my gaze. Karen Walsh, the HR rep, sits silently, with a manila folder in front of her, her neutral expression heavy with meaning. Mark Sullivan, though not in the room, lingers in my mind through his warning text and fierce loyalty. But I know Mark's wondering if I'm really playing straight with the team. The conflict explodes as Lauren and David try to push me out of the Synex contract, claiming I'm not refined enough to handle a client as big as Synex Holdings. This $50 million deal is my blood and sweat, 200-mile flights to Detroit, late nights designing a supply chain solution, and the trust I built with Rachel Hayes. But Lauren, backed by David, announces she'll lead the final signing, because the company's image demands someone with a prestigious degree. This isn't just stealing credit, it's a direct insult to my 6 years of loyalty, to the Ohio University diploma I've always held high. Orion Tech's obsession with Ivy League credentials is an invisible wall, and I'm being crushed beneath it. I sit at the far end of the table, feeling like an outsider among the navy suits and cold stare. David speaks first, his voice flat. Lucas, thanks for joining us. Lauren tells me you've made strong progress with Synex Holdings. I nod, flipping open my folder. Yes, sir, we're in the final stages. Synex has verbally committed to the full package, $50 million over 5 years, with an option to renew. David leans forward, fingers steepled. Outstanding. This will be the biggest contract in Orion Tech's history. A flicker of pride warms me, but Lauren cuts in, her voice smooth as silk. That said, we're concerned about Synex's long-term needs. Not just the technical side, but relationship management. A client of this caliber requires a certain finesse. I frown. I've built the entire
proposal around their infrastructure.
The implementation plan addresses every issue their IT team raised. Lauren smiles, but her eyes are sharp. Of course, Lucas, you've done solid foundational work, but a flagship account needs seasoned talent. I see her game. She's pulled this before, swooping in to take my accounts after I've done the heavy lifting. I've managed the Synex relationship for nearly a year. I say, keeping my voice steady. Rachel Hayes specifically requested I oversee the implementation. Lauren tilts her head. We appreciate your effort, but the company needs to project the best image. David finally looks at me, but his gaze is empty. It's not about performance, Lucas. You've exceeded expectations. But as we grow, we need to elevate our team's credentials. The word credentials hits like a slap. The room feels suffocating. David continues, his voice ice cold. We've decided to restructure the business development department, effective immediately. Unfortunately, your position has been eliminated. The word eliminated thunders in my ear. 6 years of loyalty, hundreds of overtime hours, the Synex contract, all wiped out in a single sentence. I look from David to Lauren, searching for a shred of regret, but find only discomfort at having to do this. Karen Walsh slides a manila folder toward me, her voice flat. The severance details are here. 3 months' salary, and a letter of recommendation. My hands clench under the table, but I keep my voice steady. Can I ask why now, days before signing the biggest contract in company history? David's jaw tightens. This isn't about Synex, it's about our long-term strategic direction. We need to elevate our team's credentials. I let out a bitter laugh. You mean you need people with fancier degrees? No one responds, but the silence says it all. I stand, gathering my papers with what dignity I have left. Lauren looks down, pretending to review notes, while David turns away, as if I'm already invisible. Karen hands me my employee badge and requests my laptop before I leave. I walk out of the boardroom, my head spinning. Outside, Mark is waiting, his eyes blazing with anger. What the hell just happened, Lucas? They fired you after everything you did for Synex. I shrug, trying to stay calm. They called it restructuring, Mark. He shakes his head, his voice shaking. This is garbage. You should sue their asses. I look at him, a strange calm settling amid the pain. Back at my cubicle, I pack my things, carefully wrapping my Ohio University diploma in tissue paper. Mark hovers nearby, wanting to say more, but struggling for words. It's fine, Mark. I say though, we both know it's not. They made their choice, and come Monday, they'll see it was the wrong one. Mark frowns. What do you mean? I give a faint smile, sealing the box. Just wait and see. As I leave the office, Cincinnati's drizzle greets me, the temperature around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. I drive home, my mind racing with what just happened. Lauren and David think they've won, but they don't know about Rachel Hayes, don't know I'm holding an ace. Come Monday, when the Cinex contract hits the table, they'll realize just how badly they underestimated me. I slouched on the worn sofa in my small apartment, the dim morning light of Cincinnati filtering through the blinds, the air outside hovering around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. My phone buzzed, Rachel Hayes' name flashing on the screen. Heading into the Lion's Den. Where you at? Brunch this weekend to celebrate. Her message hit like a knife, twisting in my chest. Rachel, CEO of Cinex Holdings, and my old college roommate, had no clue I'd been fired from Orion Tech 2 days ago. The $50 million contract, my blood and sweat through 200-mile flights to Detroit and sleepless nights, was now in the hands of Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds, the people who'd tossed me out because I didn't have a Harvard degree. I stared at my Ohio University diploma, carefully packed in a box, bitterness rising like bile. I hadn't told Rachel I was gone, not out of fear, but because I wanted Lauren and David to dig their own grave. Part of me wanted them to crash and burn, to see Lauren's smug face crumple when it all fell apart. But another part, the part that still believed in professionalism, made my hands shake as I typed back. You bet. Good luck today. Call me after. I set the phone down, heart pounding, knowing Monday was the day Orion Tech would realize they'd made the biggest mistake of their lives. My apartment sits in Cincinnati's suburbs, 5 miles from Orion Tech's office, a modest space with an old sofa and the faint smell of brewed coffee lingering. It's Monday morning, October 16th, 2024, and a light drizzle falls outside, the temperature around 55 degrees Fahrenheit, prompting me to throw on a hoodie while scrolling LinkedIn for job listings. Through the window, quiet streets lined with golden leaves contrast with the chaos I imagine at Orion Tech's office, where Lauren and David are prepping for the Cinex signing, oblivious to the storm coming. My apartment, simple as it is, was once where I dreamed of a future Orion Tech just ripped away. The air feels heavy, broken only by my phone buzzing with calls from David and Lauren, but I'm not ready to answer. Cincinnati, with its blend of hustle and calm, is now the backdrop for my next move. I'm Lucas Bennett, 32, freshly unemployed after 6 years at Orion Tech. The betrayal by Lauren and David still stings, but I'm determined not to let them define me. Rachel Hayes, CEO of Cinex Holdings, is a beacon in the dark. My college roommate from Ohio University, who shared broke days with me, she's now the key to the Cinex contract. Her upbeat tone in texts hides the fury I know she'll unleash when she learns I was fired. Mark Sullivan, my loyal coworker, isn't here but comes through in a call late. He's pissed about my firing, but I sense a hint of suspicion in his voice, like he thinks I'm hiding something. Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds loom as shadows of betrayal. Though not present, I picture them scrambling in Orion Tech's boardroom, smugly confident they've erased me. An internal conflict rages as I wrestle between a thirst for revenge against Orion Tech and my professional ethics. I deliberately didn't tell Rachel I was fired, letting Lauren and David face the fallout when she notices I'm gone. The Cinex contract, my work over nearly a year, is what they stole, and part of me wants to see them fail spectacularly. But another part, the one still clinging to integrity, questions if I'm going too far. I know Rachel won't sign without me, but should I let her tank the deal just to get even? The question gnaws at me, like standing at a crossroads between justice and doing what's right. My phone buzzes again, this time a call from Mark. I pick up, and his voice bursts with excitement. Lucas, you won't believe what just went down. I set my coffee mug down, heart racing. Spill it, Mark. He talks fast, almost shouting. Rachel Hayes walked into the boardroom, looked around, and the first thing she said was, "Where's Lucas?" Lauren tried to explain, "You're no longer with the company." But Rachel shut her down. She said, and I quote, "If Lucas isn't involved, we need to revisit this contract immediately." I close my eyes, picturing Lauren's face paling, her fake smile dissolving. "What did David do?" I ask. Mark chuckles. "He went into damage control, yammering about team approaches and valuing your contribution. But it was total crap. Rachel wasn't buying it. She said from the start, you were why Cinex picked Orion Tech. And without you, the deal's off the table." A small vindictive part of me savors Lauren's panic, but I keep my voice steady. Then what? Mark goes on. They're in David's office now, freaking out. Lauren's losing it, calling legal to see if they can force Cinex to honor the verbal agreement. I reply curtly, they can't. Nothing's signed. Mark hesitates. How'd you know this would happen, Lucas? I pause, then decide to come clean. Rachel was my college roommate. We've been tight for over a decade. Silence, then Mark whispers. And Orion Tech had no idea. I smirk. They didn't ask. They saw my Ohio University degree and figured I had no real connections. My phone buzzes again. A text from Rachel. They fired you. Unbelievable. Call me now. I take a deep breath, heart pounding. I know this call will change everything. When I dial, Rachel answers instantly, her voice brimming with anger. Lucas, what the hell? Why didn't you tell me you got canned? I sigh. I wanted to see what they'd say, if they'd own up or try to cover it up. Rachel snorts. They tried to spin some garbage about strategic redirection. So arrogant. If I'd known, I wouldn't have set foot in that boardroom. I smile, a mix of relief and resolve washing over me. Thanks for having my back, Rachel. She fires back. Of course. You're the only reason Synex went with Orion Tech. But listen, Lucas, I've got an idea. You remember Nathan Brooks? He was a year ahead of us, econ major. He runs Wilson Enterprise Solutions now, Orion Tech's competitor. They've been trying to get a meeting with me for months. Nathan's looking for a business development director. You in? I sit up straight, my mind racing. This isn't just a chance for revenge. It's a shot to rebuild my life. Send me Nathan's contact info, I say, voice firm. I'll call him today. Rachel texts me Nathan Brooks's info right away, adding, he's expecting your call. Good luck. I open my laptop, pulling up Wilson Enterprise Solutions website. They're smaller than Orion Tech, but growing fast, with cutting-edge tech. I picture Lauren and David in their boardroom, scrambling to save the Synex deal, clueless that I'm about to make a move that'll haunt them. My phone keeps buzzing with calls from David, but I let them go to voicemail. I owe them nothing now. A sense of freedom creeps in, like the weight of 6 years at Orion Tech is finally lifting. I stand brewing a fresh cup of coffee, gazing out my apartment window. The rain's still falling, but Cincinnati's sky seems brighter. I've lost my job, but Rachel just handed me a chance not just to get even, but to prove my worth. Nathan Brooks and Wilson Enterprise Solutions could be the fresh start I need, where I'm judged for my skills, not my degree. I grin, thinking of the moment Lauren and David realize they've lost Synex, and me. Monday's just the beginning. I open my email, drafting a message to Nathan, my fingers flying with newfound resolve. The game's just starting, and this time, I'm calling the shots. I stood outside Brewed Awakening, a trendy coffee shop in downtown Cincinnati, my heart pounding like I was about to step into a battlefield. The air was crisp, around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, but sweat still beaded on my forehead. Today, I was meeting Nathan Brooks, CEO of Wilson Enterprise Solutions, Orion Tech's rival, the company that fired me 3 days ago. Rachel Hayes, my college buddy and Synex Holdings CEO, had set this up, saying Nathan was hunting for a business development director. The $50 million Synex contract, my blood and sweat through 200-mile flights to Detroit, was now hanging by a thread, because Rachel threatened to pull it if I wasn't involved. Orion Tech, with Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds, thought they'd erased me, but they didn't know I held an ace. My phone kept buzzing with calls from David, but I let them go to voicemail. 6 years of loyalty, sleepless nights, and my Ohio University diploma they'd sneered at. All of it had led me here, to this coffee shop door. I took a deep breath, picturing Lauren's fake smile as she stole my work. This wasn't just an interview. It was my chance to take back what was mine, and maybe make Orion Tech regret underestimating me. Brewed Awakening sits on Walnut Street, in Cincinnati's bustling downtown, where the hum of traffic mixes with the aroma of roasted coffee. It's noon on October 17th, 2024, and the sky is clear, the temperature around 60 degrees Fahrenheit, with pedestrians clutching to-go cups and light jackets. Inside, warm lighting, rustic wooden tables, and soft jazz create a modern yet cozy vibe. I'm at a corner table, 6 miles from Orion Tech's office, where I used to work. The atmosphere here is worlds away from Orion Tech's sterile boardroom, with its mahogany table and KPI pressure. My apartment 5 miles away is where I've been scrolling LinkedIn and dodging frantic calls from David and Lauren. But this coffee shop is my new battleground. Cincinnati, with its mix of energy and friendliness, is the stage for rewriting my story. I sip a latte, check my watch, and wait for Nathan Brooks to walk in. I'm Lucas Bennett, 32, freshly sacked from Orion Tech after 6 years of grinding. Lauren and David's betrayal still cuts deep, but I'm ready to fight back. Nathan Brooks, CEO of Wilson Enterprise Solutions, is the new player I'm about to meet. Rachel described him as a young, driven entrepreneur who was a year ahead of us at Ohio University. Rachel Hayes, Synex Holdings CEO, isn't here but looms large through texts. The one who opened this door. My college roommate. She's ready to tank the Orion Tech deal after learning I was fired. Mark Sullivan, my loyal coworker, pops up via text. Still pissed but suspicious. I'm hiding something. Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds are shadows of betrayal. Though absent, I feel their panic through the constant calls lighting up my phone. An internal struggle erupts as I weigh loyalty to Orion Tech, where I poured 6 years of my life, against the opportunity at Wilson Enterprise Solutions. Part of me still feels tied to Orion Tech, where I built my career from nothing. But Lauren and David fired me, without a second thought, dismissing my Ohio University degree and my work on the Synex contract. Accepting Nathan's offer means joining their rival, potentially bringing the Synex deal with me, and hitting Orion Tech, where it hurt. But am I betraying coworkers like Mark, or is this the justice I deserve? The question churns in my gut, like standing at a crossroads that'll define my future. Nathan Brooks strides into the coffee shop, younger than I expected, around 40, in a casual blazer but radiating the energy of someone who built an empire from scratch. Lucas, right. Rachel said a lot about you, he says, shaking my hand firmly. We sit, and he cuts to the chase. Rachel says you're the most client-focused person she's worked with. That's what I need. I nod, keeping my cool. I believe in relationships over transactions. Tech changes, but trust doesn't. Nathan smiles, his eyes sharp. Exactly. Wilson's smaller than Orion Tech, but our tech's better. User-friendly interface, cloud-native, fast adaptability. What we lack is someone to get us in front of big clients. I sip my latte, sensing the door cracking. You mean someone with connections and industry know-how? Nathan nods. Spot on. I'll be blunt, Lucas. I want to poach you. Business Development Director, reporting to me, full strategic freedom, company equity, and a salary that'll make Orion Tech blush. I raise an eyebrow. That's one hell of a pitch. Nathan shrugs. I believe in investing in talent. And per Rachel, Orion Tech was dumb enough to let you go. My phone buzzes, David's third call. I silence it, and Nathan smirks. Trouble, I shake my head. Not anymore. Mid-conversation, Rachel texts. Lucas just told Orion Tech, the Synex deal's off without you. They're freaking out. What's next? I reply, let them stew. I'm with Nathan. When Nathan steps out for a call, I sit back, my mind reeling. His offer, double the salary, equity freedom, is everything I've dreamed of. But signing with Wilson means I'm done with Orion Tech for good. Place I gave 6 years to. My phone buzzes again, David's name flashing. I pick up, and his voice drips with panic. Lucas, we need to talk. There's been a misunderstanding with Synex. Rachel thinks you're critical to the deal. I reply coldly. That's not a misunderstanding, David. It's a fact. He stammers. Maybe we acted too hastily Friday. We'd like you back to oversee Synex. I let out a dry laugh. You fired me 3 days ago because I don't have an Ivy League degree. Now you want me back because you're about to lose $50 million. David starts to speak, but I cut him off. That's exactly what happened. Don't pretend otherwise. He goes quiet, then says, what'll it take, Lucas? VP title, equity. I glance out the coffee shop window, sunlight hitting Walnut Street. Nothing. I'm not coming back. I hang up, heart racing, and email Nathan. Send the contract. I'm in. Nathan sends the contract that afternoon, and I sign without hesitation. Double the salary, company equity, and full autonomy. It's what I deserve. Rachel texts, soon after, just emailed Orion Tech, officially pulling out of the deal. They're reeling. I grin, picturing Lauren and David in their boardroom, scrambling to grasp what hit them. My phone's flooded with calls, 7 from David, 3 from Lauren, even 1 from Karen Walsh, but I delete them all. Mark texts, what'd you do, Lucas? The place is a madhouse. I don't reply, knowing he's still wary of me. But this time, I don't owe anyone an explanation. I've chosen my path. I step out of the coffee shop onto Walnut Street, warm sunlight on my face. Cincinnati, with its familiar streets and relentless pulse, is where I'm starting over. Wilson Enterprise Solutions isn't just a job. It's a chance to prove skills matter more than degrees. Lauren and David thought they'd won, but they didn't see Rachel and me flipping the script. Monday was just the start. I drive back to my apartment, a sense of freedom spreading. Tomorrow I'll begin at Wilson, building my own team and strategy. Orion Tech will soon learn the cost of underestimating me. I smile, thinking of the day Rachel and I signed the Synex deal with Wilson, right under Lauren and David's noses. I sat in a dimly lit corner of the Rusty Fork, a cozy Cincinnati restaurant, the warm glow of amber lights bouncing off the oak table. But the air between me and Mark Sullivan was tight as a bowstring. Outside, the temperature hovered around 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Yet I felt a flush of heat as Mark stared at me, his eyes a mix of anger and betrayal. "Lucas, what the hell did you do?" he asked, his voice low but sharp. "Orion Tech's a mess because Synex pulled out, and everyone's saying it's your fault." I took a sip of craft beer, trying to stay calm. 3 days ago, I'd signed with Wilson Enterprise Solutions, Orion Tech's rival, after Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds fired me. Rachel Hayes, my college buddy and Synex Holdings CEO, had yanked the $50 million deal when she learned I was gone. Mark, who'd once had my back in the conference room, now thought I'd deliberately sabotaged the company. "I didn't blow up anything, Mark," I said, my voice steady. "They fired me, and now they're paying the price." Mark shook his head, gripping his beer bottle tightly. "You know how many people could lose their jobs over this, Lucas. You were one of us." His words hit like a punch, making me wonder if I'd gone too far. But I knew the truth, and I needed Mark to see it before our friendship fell apart. The Rusty Fork sits on Main Street in Cincinnati, 4 miles from my apartment. It's the evening of October 18th, 2024, and the air outside is cool at 58 degrees Fahrenheit, with neon restaurant signs reflecting off rain-slicked sidewalks. Inside, the smell of grilled burgers and the twang of country music create a homey vibe, but our table feels like a battlefield. Oak tables, leather-padded chairs, and a craft beer menu are Cincinnati staples, where office workers unwind after hours. 6 miles away, Orion Tech's office is likely in chaos, with Lauren and David scrambling to salvage what's left after Rachel killed the Synex deal. My apartment, where I've been browsing LinkedIn and getting texts from Rachel, is my base for prepping for my first week at Wilson Enterprise Solutions. But tonight, in this restaurant, I'm fighting to save my bond with Mark and prove I'm not the traitor he thinks I am. I'm Lucas Bennett, 32, newly hired at Wilson Enterprise Solutions after Orion Tech betrayed me. Lauren and David's betrayal still stings, but I'm determined to rebuild. Mark Sullivan, my closest coworker from Orion Tech, sits across from me, his rumpled shirt matching his frayed nerves. His eyes flicker between anger and hurt. He stood up for me against Lauren once, but now suspects I tanked the company. Rachel Hayes, Synex Holdings CEO, doesn't appear but is mentioned for pulling the plug on Orion Tech, bolstering my position. Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds are shadows of betrayal. Though absent, their desperation seeps through in Mark's stories. Nathan Brooks, Wilson's CEO, is referenced as the one who gave me a new shot. The conflict ignites as Mark mistakenly believes I deliberately sabotaged Orion Tech, putting our friendship on the line. He thinks I used my connection with Rachel to kill the Synex deal, plunging the company into crisis and risking jobs, including his. Seeing suspicion in Mark's eyes, the guy who once had my back cuts deep. But I'm also pissed. Orion Tech fired me for lacking an Ivy League degree, and now Mark's blaming me for the fallout Lauren and David brought on themselves. I have to convince him I didn't betray him, only sought justice for myself. This tension isn't just about friendship. It's a test of whether I can build a team at Wilson without losing the people who mattered to me. Mark leans across the table, his voice low but biting. "Lucas, level with me. You meant for Rachel to pull the deal, didn't you? You wanted to screw Orion Tech." I sigh, setting my beer down. "Mark, I didn't sabotage anything. They fired me 3 days before the Synex signing. Lauren stole my work, and David said I wasn't refined enough because of my Ohio University degree." Mark frowns, but his eyes still hold doubt. "So why didn't you warn Rachel? You knew she'd bail if you weren't there." I meet his gaze. I wanted them to face the consequences. Lauren and David thought I was nothing, but Rachel only signed because of me. I built that deal, 200-mile flights to Detroit, hundreds of hours. They didn't deserve it. Mark shakes his head. "But what about us, Lucas? People like me, grinding every day, who might lose everything now." His words sting, but I press on. "Mark, I didn't want to hurt you. I just signed with Wilson Enterprise Solutions. Nathan Brooks wants me as business development director. And Rachel's considering taking the Synex deal to Wilson." Mark freezes. "You joined the rival, and you're taking Synex with you." I nod. "Yeah, but I want you to know the truth. Orion Tech betrayed me, and now I'm rebuilding." Mark goes quiet, then says, "I've seen Lauren screw people over before, but I thought you'd never go this far." I reply, I didn't sabotage Mark. I just took back what I. The air between us is heavy, but I see Mark's eyes soften, like he's wrestling with himself. Lucas, he says, his voice rough. I was wrong to think you meant to tank the company, but when Rachel pulled the deal, I got scared everything would collapse. Jobs, the team, all of it. I nod, relief creeping in. I get it, Mark. But Orion Tech didn't value us. Lauren and David cared about degrees and image, not skill. Mark takes a swig of beer. Thoughtful. You're right. I remember when Lauren stole Sarah's account and laughed like it was a game. I seized the moment. Wilson's hiring, Mark. Nathan needs people like you. Loyal, hardworking, industry savvy. You want in? Mark looks up, surprised. You serious? I nod. Dead serious. I'm building a team, and I want you on it. Mark pauses, then gives a faint smile. All right, Lucas, send me the details. I'll call Nathan. I grin for the first time that night, feeling like I've reclaimed something vital. A few days later, Mark calls Nathan and lands an interview. He tells me over the phone, his voice buzzing, Nathan liked my ideas on streamlining client processes. They want me to start next week. I smile, pride mixing with relief. Mark's hired as a project manager at Wilson, reporting to me. His Orion Tech experience will strengthen my team. Rachel texts, heard you got Mark on board at Wilson. Hell of a crew. I reply, thanks for kicking this off. Mark says Orion Tech's still a mess. Lauren's under fire from the board and David's hunting for new investors. I leave the restaurant, driving through Cincinnati's moonlit streets, the temperature dipping to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. My friendship with Mark, once shaky from misunderstanding, is now solid. He's not just a co-worker. He's proof I don't have to lose the people who matter to find justice. Wilson Enterprise Solutions is home now, where Mark and I will build a future together. Lauren and David might think they're still in control, but they don't know my team's growing. Rachel and the Cinex deal are one step away. I smile, picturing the day we sign that contract with Wilson, when Orion Tech realizes they've lost everything. The fight's not over, but with an unexpected ally by my side, I'm ready for the next chapter. I stood at the head of Wilson Enterprise Solutions conference room, sunlight streaming through wide windows onto a sleek glass table, my heart pounding, not with nerves, but with confidence. Today I was leading a meeting with Rachel Hayes, CEO of Cinex Holdings, to sign a $45 million contract, the biggest win of my career. A year ago, I was Lucas Bennett, the guy Orion Tech fired for not having a Harvard degree. My work stolen by Lauren Mitchell and dismissed by David Reynolds as not refined enough. Now here I was in a sharp new suit, looking at my team, including Mark Sullivan, who once doubted me, ready to make history. Outside, Cincinnati's fall air was crisp at 65 degrees Fahrenheit, but inside, the room buzzed like a summer day. Rachel walked in, her smile wide, and said, Lucas, you've outdone yourself. Cinex couldn't have picked a better partner than Wilson. I grinned, thinking of Lauren and David, now scrambling in the wreckage of Orion Tech. They had no idea that firing me had paved the way for me to build a new empire. Today, I'd prove that skill trumps credentials every time. Wilson Enterprise Solutions office sits on Race Street in downtown Cincinnati, 7 miles from Orion Tech's headquarters, a distance far enough to leave my past behind. It's October 15th, 2025, and the fall sky is clear, the temperature around 65 degrees Fahrenheit, with golden leaves blanketing the sidewalks. Wilson's office is modern glass walls, open workstations, and the faint aroma of Starbucks coffee in the air. The vibe is electric, a stark contrast to Orion Tech's cold boardroom, where I was sacked. I drive 5 miles from my apartment each morning, grabbing a latte on the way, a ritual that grounds me. Cincinnati, with its vibrant pulse and familiar streets, is home now. While Wilson thrives, Orion Tech, from what I hear, is crumbling. Board meetings in panic. Executives jumping ship. My office at Wilson, with my Ohio University diploma proudly hung, stands as a symbol of my triumph. I'm Lucas Bennett, 33, Business Development Director at Wilson Enterprise Solutions, turning Orion Tech's betrayal into fuel. Rachel Hayes, Cinex Holdings CEO, is my partner and friend, the force behind our $45 million deal. Her smile and blunt honesty echo our Ohio University days. Mark Sullivan, my former co-worker and now project manager under me, is my unexpected ally. Once suspicious, but now a team cornerstone. Nathan Brooks, Wilson's CEO, is the visionary who gave me this shot. Lauren Mitchell and David Reynolds, though absent, are relics of failure. Their Orion tech collapsing under their mistakes. My Wilson team, engineers, salespeople, and analysts, is the crew I lead to outshine Orion tech. The final conflict flares as Orion tech desperately tries to claw back my old clients, including accounts I managed, in a last-ditch effort to survive. They spread rumors that Wilson lacks experience, but my strategy and team, bolstered by Mark and new hire, outclass them. This isn't just corporate competition. It's my chance to prove Orion Tech was wrong to fire me. Every client I win, every contract I sign, is a blow to Lauren and David, who once snooty IO University degree. This clash is the culmination of my journey for justice and self-liberation, showing the world what I'm capable of. The meeting kicks off, and I present Synex's implementation plan, an integrated supply chain solution, slashing costs and time. Rachel nods, impressed. Lucas, this is exactly the vision that sold us on you. Mark at my side chimes in with logistics details, wowing Synex's team. After an hour, Rachel signs the $45 million contract, shaking my hand firmly. Congrats, Lucas. Wilson's our home. I smile, thinking of those 200-mile flights to Detroit. The late nights finally paid off. Post-meeting, Nathan pulls me into his office. Lucas, you didn't just land Synex. 3 other Orion Tech clients, ones you handled, reached out to work with us. I raise an eyebrow. What'd they say? Nathan grins. They said Orion Tech's lost its way, and they trust you more. I nod, justice sinking in. LinkedIn's abuzz. Orion Tech's laying off staff, its stocks tanking, and the board's in emergency talks to find a buy. Mark texts, you see the news. Lauren's been called to the board. Looks like she's out. I reply, karma works fast. But I don't linger on it. I'm too busy building Wilson's team and strategy. A week later, Nathan calls me into his office, his eyes gleaming. Lucas, the board met. We want you as Chief Revenue Officer, overseeing all sales strategy. I'm floored, my heart racing.
Hey.
Chief Revenue Officers, you're serious? Nathan laughs, dead serious. You brought in $45 million from Synex and 3 other clients in under a year. You're crushing it. I shake his hand, pride swelling. That same day, the news breaks. Orion Tech's officially seeking a buy, unable to recover from losing Synex and other clients. Lauren's been fired, and David resigned under pressure. I stand in my new office, gazing out at Race Street, knowing I didn't just survive. I won. I sit in my office, staring at my Ohio University diploma, its frame now polished. 6 years ago, I was a low-level sales rep, mocked for lacking an Ivy League pedigree. Now, I'm Wilson's Chief Revenue Officer, leading a team with Mark and signing game-changing deals. Rachel calls, her voice electric. Lucas, you did it. Orion Tech's no longer a play. I laugh. Thanks, Rachel. I wouldn't be here without you. Mark pops in, clapping my shoulder. Oh, new boss, you look good in that chair. We crack up, Orion Tech's days, feeling like a distant memory. I drive home, Cincinnati's sunset, painting the sky, the air cool at 60 degrees Fahrenheit. My journey began with betrayal, but ended in justice and freedom. Lauren and David thought they could erase me, but they didn't know skill, not credentials, defined success. My Ohio University diploma, once ridiculed, is now my badge of victory. Wilson Enterprise Solutions is my new beginning, and with Mark, Rachel and my team, I'm ready for bigger heights. This story isn't just mine, it's for anyone who's been underestimated, pushed aside. Remember, you're stronger than they think. Thanks for sticking with my story, everyone. If you loved this journey of justice and redemption, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss stories like this. Let's keep exploring epic wins together. See you next time.